Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. Hey Sister, how you doing, girl?
Ooh, you already know. You already know. It's been a crazy, crazy week. So just trying to get myself back together.
Yes. It has been a very busy week for us. So if you are out there, we need all your love and energy and support today as we kind of get through our program. It's been a bit of a whirlwind. I'm like, wow, this has only been 7 days, and it's been a bit of a whirlwind for us. But nonetheless, we press on and we come to you every week with Hey Sister. So we want you to like, follow, share, subscribe, tell folks about this episode. If you're out there watching, we want you to join the conversation in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from, and and get involved in the comments. Because let me tell y'all, what did you say? Ridiculousness is abundant or abound. I mean, ridiculousness, foolery, tragedy, there's no shortage of it. So if it's happening, we're gonna talk about it, right, sister?
Well, we're going to try. I'm not going to say we can talk about it all because, man, it just keeps coming.
It definitely keeps coming. So we are going to get into our hot topic. So we know in the world of celebrity, we recently learned of the loss of one Tracy Braxton. She was the older, I think, funnier of the Braxton sisters, and we lost her. Hey Jody, hey Jody's tuning in.
Hey, Jody.
You know, and we've dealt with our own losses. So we lost a dear friend who we grew up with um very suddenly at a young age as well. I know Tracy was just 50. We lost him at 49. One of my dear friends from college, her mother passed away yesterday. And so I just want to lift all these families up and love and support and prayer and nurturing, and just really encourage you, regardless of what situation or circumstances you might be facing, to really just function and operate in gratitude, and keep each other lifted up in prayer and support, because we need it out here. Like I said, ridiculousness is abundant, and tragedy and strife, and so we need it. We talked about the situation that's happening over the seas in Ukraine, and people continuing the bloodshed and the loss of life, just so unnecessarily. So I don't know, sister. What are your thoughts? We've had a conversation about this before. We had Dr. Alana on about, like, how do you manage all these traumas, right?
Right. So I saw something that Yana Van Zandt posted, and I'm going to read it, but I'm gonna, say that even though it's about Tracy Braxton specifically, I feel this way across the board. She just said, lifting up prayers and love to the Braxton family for the transition of their beloved daughter, sister, wife, mother, Tracy. May the spirit of light and peace surround you and comfort you. May the comforter come. May Tracy be lifted by your love. You know that love never dies. May you feel God's love that will keep you in perfect peace. I am standing with you and for you in this challenging time. May you know peace. And that resonated with me because one of the things we know when people transition, when they pass on, very often it's I mean, it's those of us who are left behind to mourn. We're the ones who need the comfort and need the support. Our loved ones are, you know. Resting and hopefully in peace, and they are no longer dealing with the trials and tribulations of this world. So hopefully there can be some peace and some comfort and even some laughter in remembering the beauty that is our loved ones who've transitioned. And I know it's easier said than done, but wishing
Absolutely.
that for everyone.
Absolutely. And Denise Hey y'all, thanks for watching. We appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. And yeah, I think it is very apropos, sister, that may we all know some sort of peace. And there's nothing like, especially that peace that comes from within, and that peace that surpasses all understanding. So yeah, for sure. So tonight we're gonna get into some hot topics, things that have happened this week. We're going to start with the more serious, and we'll try to we'll get lighter hopefully as we go. I don't know how light it's going to be. But this past week, I guess it's by maybe it's 2 weeks now, and it's just kind of made the news and come forward. One Mr. Ryan Coogler was doing business at his bank. He's somewhere filming a movie, and he needed to get some money.
He's in Atlanta, Georgia, filming a movie.
He's in Atlanta, Georgia, filming a movie. He needed to get some money. He had to pay that nanny. So clearly he got some children that needed some watching. And he goes to the Bank of America. I used to be a teller. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that? Like in my college, like right after college days, when I was in grad school, I was also a bank teller. Yes, I was right there in New Orleans. And so he was at the bank, and he goes, he has on his mask, because we were required to wear a mask. And he presents his debit card, his identification, and a little note saying, don't count this money out in front of nobody. Be discreet. Because I've been a teller before. When the retirees, those will come with their social security check, and we like, I need you to give me 10s, 20s. I need you to give me this many rolls of quarters. Like, let me tell you, they will come with them $5,000 checks and want us to do it out in 10s and 20s and in quarters. Because that's how I gotta go pay my bill over here and do this. And they would have, look, I've been there. But he was like, keep it on the low. And instead of just reading a note, so she engaged him, asked a question or two. And he was like, just read the note, because the note is telling you what I need you to do. I'm going to let you take it from here, sister.
There's nothing to take from here. Old girl called the police. Well, she called 911. And even the conversation
Talk to our manager first.
So, okay, she talked to her manager first. All I know is she called 911, and that was one of the most ridiculous 911 calls I think I've heard in a while. At the end of the day, the 911 dispatcher asked, did he have a weapon? She said no. Of course, when she asked, is he black or white? She was like, he's black. And I think even in that moment, maybe she thought to herself, man, I'm a black woman being discriminating against my own. But she kept saying things like, but he has a California driver's license, as if people who travel to Atlanta can't possibly have a California, go to Bank of America or have a California driver's license. It all was problematic for me. Now, when I was driving back on Friday, I heard on I want to say it was Cayman Kelly, but I don't want to lie on nobody. But somebody was like, when you're a bank teller, you never give a bank teller a note. And it's like, so he was on the side of, not having that Ryan Coogler messed up by giving a note.
Lies. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I can't, I have not been a bank teller.
You've not
but
been.
I just think that sometimes we have to use a little bit more common sense. And I don't know any robbers who start with handing you their ID and their bank card. I was once a Bank of America customer, not anymore, but was once. And when I was a Bank of America customer, you usually had to slide your card. This is how old it is, because now y'all got chips and stuff, but slide your card and put your PIN number in.
Which he had done. He had put his card in and put his PIN in.
Okay. So I'm not understanding how all of these facets would make one feel like they were in danger. Because at the end of the day, that's what it should be about. If you call 911,
Yes, she said she feared for her unborn child.
but her unborn child wasn't there. She was. Her unborn child is not there.
Her
He
unborn
gave
child is her womb. She's pregnant. She was pregnant.
fine. Her unborn child was not in danger from this guy. Well, first of all, for me, it's ridiculous because I'm a fan, of course, cinema matters to me. So Ryan Coogler, I would have probably been like, for real, you want Ryan Coogler? You know what I'm saying? But and like I was telling Mama on our drive, I'm like, Black Panther ain't his first thing. Like, this brother did Fruitvale Station. This brother did both of the pretty much anything Michael B. Jordan be in.
Creed.
Creed 1 and 2. I was like, man, how this sister don't know Ryan Coogler? But different conversation.
I'm sure she's of a certain. She definitely sounded young.
She did,
but it really does say something about this colonization mindset, because basically that's what I saw, what I heard on display, and you can go listen to it for yourselves. We dropped one of the articles in there, and you can definitely listen to the 911 audio. That's what it sounded like, because she was like, well, he's Black and he's Black. He put in a debit card, entered the PIN, and has an identification. You look, when you typed in, when you did tick, 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 you pulled up that person's account. It had their name, they had a deposit, a withdrawal slip. And if the money was in the account.
It should tell you if the money is in there, right?
If the money was in the account, everything else was added up. All you had to do is process the account. So like I said, I was a bank teller. People will come with their $5,000 Social Security check, because they get their once a month Social Security check. That was like between the first and the third of the month was like the worst days to work, because those old people would come with their canes, and they would come, and then they would hand you a note and how they wanted the money given out to you. Like I said, they would tell you, I want this many in 20s, I want these 10s, I want 5s, I want some rolls of quarters. Because these are people who probably still went to the laundromat. They paid all. They will go to the cable place and pay their bill. They will go to the phone company and pay their bill. They had their little papers written out of how they wanted their cash back, so they could take that, put that to their bill, and go handle their business. And I used to hate it because I was so nervous with them walking out onto Claiborne Avenue, with $4,000 in their pocket. That would freak me out. It would always freak me out. But that's what we did. So that person who called in talking about you don't hand a bank teller, no, people give you instructions all the time of how they want their money to be given back to them. So that's a bunch of bunk and baloney. And all he wanted to do was don't count out $12,000 in right here loud and in public, because I'm about to walk out of here.
Right.
I'm about to walk out of this bank from here to my vehicle. I don't want to get mugged, shot up, or whatever. So be discreet. And I don't think asking for discretion is a problem. Y'all tell us, if you tuning in, is that a lot to ask? Is asking for some discretion a lot to ask?
Well, and the part
who Ryan Coogler is, but if his name matched that driver's license and matched that debit card when she pulled it up on the computer, all she had to do was her job, and she didn't. She decided to police the situation, and she didn't need to.
And now she really needs to be afraid for her unborn child, because technically she should be out of a job, unemployed. Her and her unborn child should be unemployed.
Management and how they handled the situation by telling her, because her manager said, well, if you feel unsafe, call 911. No, Miss Manager, walk your behind. I was about to say another word, but walk your behind over there and do your due diligence as the manager. Like, look, if this is not out of order, then you just give him his money and keep it pushing. Right. Or you go there, process the transaction and keep it pushing.
And the question I have is, if it had been $1,200 or $120 as opposed to $12,000, would she have felt the same level of fear and would she have felt that there was a safety concern?
I
If he
don't.
had done everything else the same, note and all, would there have been a concern?
Yeah. So what say you? Y'all share it in the comments and we'll come back and we'll add those up on the screen. But since we're in the world of banking, let's keep talking about banking. So Wells Fargo continues to Wells Fargo. And so y'all might know Wells Fargo, the one with the little horse and the stagecoach is their what is
Logo.
it? Their
Logo.
logo. Yeah, there we go. As their logo. So Wells Fargo, the same bank who is supposedly trying to repair their image, and the same people who've had talking about their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Um, Wells Fargo was recently found to have a issue with approving um Black homeowners who were trying to refinance their loans in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Right, this is from 2020. So they denied over 50%. So people who probably would normally qualify for a free refi, they were trying to get a lower interest rate. We know how the interest rates went low. People were using their home to refi, probably take care of some business, probably pay off some other debts and do all the normal things that people do when they refinance a home mortgage. And they denied over half. They rejected over half of the Black applicants. And so I don't know, sister, what all other lenders had a better approval rate at
Mm-hmm.
71%, and where Wells Fargo only approved 47%, and they said that they're gonna do better. You know how many times we've been hearing Wells Fargo gonna do better?
Yeah, Wells Fargo, if I recall, you made mention of them, some of the predatory loan practices before. I didn't hear it that you made mention of recently. They had issues when the CEO said he couldn't find Black folks to work, or people of diverse groups to work for them. He was having those problems too.
I'm gonna drop another article where in 2019 they settled a bias claim, 7.8 million to settle hiring bias
Biases.
claims.
Right. So Julian Gordon is, and I'm sorry, I've been looking down because I was trying to pull these things up. Julian Gordon is a fellow that I follow on Instagram. And so first of all, Julian said, don't holler, just move your dollars. And Julian went and closed his account. And he pulled out $37,000. So I don't know why. I guess he didn't he didn't use a note. So but
Yeah, like Denise said, the note threw her for a loop.
clearly. But he says the economic impact of those rejections is astronomical when you account for the additional mortgage interest Black borrowers will pay over the remainder of their mortgages due to not being able to refinance. Money is liquid and easy to move. I moved $37,459.79 from Wells Fargo and closed my account forever. We are not marching or asking for a seat at their table. We are just going to reroute our stored energy called money elsewhere.
Yes.
So I in addition to banking with Bank of America, I used to bank with Wells Fargo as well. And closed my account with them too, after some foolery that they did some years ago as well. We just got to show people better than we can tell them.
Yes.
I wish Ryan Coogler had taken all his money up out of that Bank of America right at that moment too.
That day, after he talked to the police, they did what they came to do. They arrested him. Again, his life could have been, it could have gone a whole nother direction,
Right.
depending on how the police showed up. I wish he would have went right back in there to that bank.
I would have wish he would have been like, y'all come on back in here so we don't have no questions.
Come on in here with me.
Yeah.
And my crew, let me call my crew because we wanted to film this.
Right.
And I'm gonna withdraw. I'm about to close all my accounts. And I'm gonna take them somewhere else.
And there's the bottom line, whether it's Bank of America, Wells Fargo, whoever it is, whatever.
If you're a customer,
there are too many other options for these folks to still be acting a fool.
That's right. Yep. So Wells Fargo continues to Wells Fargo. This issue about discrimination and about bias, about in their discriminatory hiring practice, in their predatory lending practices, Wells Fargo and the Stagecoach has shown you who they are. You don't have to continue to patronize them. So yes, exactly. Wrong cop walked in. He could have died. Absolutely, absolutely, and
Yes.
that's the bottom line. So do business with people who support you and celebrate you and honor you. And so, this is not in our list here, but I do want to throw this topic out there because here in the state of Florida and the state of Texas and everywhere, they're trying to pass all of these legislations about giving parents all of these, you know, here it's called the "Don't Say Gay" bill, but it's that's not actually all what it is. And but the CEO of Disney, his piss poor response the first time his employees got on him, and he's come back with a more firm reply. And the I think it's the lieutenant governor was like, okay, these companies, they should not be criticizing what duly elected um, legislators are passing. Listen, it's the same thing applies. Where your money is, you have a right to speak up. You have a right to speak up and say, no, this is not right. What you're doing is harmful. And I am ready at this point for corporate leaders to not just say they allies, because again, you say you're an ally, but your actions are not showing that your allegiance is there. So I need you to show, not just be an ally, I want you to show your leadership. I want you to be on the front lines. I don't want you to have to be pushed. I don't You had to be pushed to make a statement. And when your conversation with the governor, like he assured you, what is his word really worth? And so it is time that we the people, it is time for we the people who work in and are affiliated and associated with corporations to just say enough is enough. All of this discrimination, all of this bias, all of this fear mongering, when there's so many things that need to be done. Let's get to doing what needs to be done so we can move forward, because it's absolutely an abomination. And I think it, to me, it's all, there's a thread that it's all related. I don't know. What do you think, sister?
It
Okay,
is
that was a big
so,
sigh.
because it's so hard, man. I struggle on a regular basis with working in corporate America for reasons such as these. On the one hand, obviously, you want to be able to take care of yourself, you want to be able to pay your bills or what have you. But it's so disheartening when, to your point, um, for an elected, duly elected official to say corporations shouldn't say anything. Well, guess what? Have they corporations are responsible for employing people. They're responsible for paying taxes, albeit not as much as they should. Um, and the people who are employed there, they also, they are citizens of this country. We Anybody has the right to criticize duly elected officials if duly elected officials are clowning out here in these streets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my issue, to your point, is sometimes we gotta stand for something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just so tired of quote unquote executives and leaders in corporate America erring on the side of caution, or walking that fine line. At the end of the day, some stuff you gotta say that is wrong, and I have a problem with it.
Yep.
This is slightly different, but it's just like our conversations about gas prices. These gas prices ain't going up just because there's a war between Ukraine and Russia. We get less than about 8% of our crude oil from Russia. So that's not the big cause. The cause is that some of these corporations, lots of these corporations lost a lot of money in 2020 due to the pandemic and in 2021 as well. And they're trying to recoup their costs. And at some point, we got to say, no, this is not cool. And it is dependent upon us as consumers to say, I will not patronize you if you can't tell the leadership of your state, hey, we give too much of our money. I mean, the whole state of Florida, even if you not even Miami, but the whole state of Florida is dependent upon the amusement
Tourism.
park tourism, right?
Tourism. Mm-hmm.
Very specifically the Walt Disney Company and all of its subsidiaries. So it's like you have the right to say, nah, we're not going to do that. It's appalling. Whatever the bill real states, it's appalling that anything about not saying gay.
Well, yeah, and I mean, first of all, in K through third grade, they don't necessarily do sex education. Teachers are not talking about that. But the thing that for me that was horrible, I mean, we got a couple comments here. I say to your state, gay, 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 gay. And Disney best get it together because they got a lot of our gay ass money. Absolutely. We dropped in the article so you can read kind of what happened with the CEO and kind of his epiphany and decided to come around. But the legislation is about, so we know teachers are not teaching this. Okay, so that's A off top. But the thing that worried me is that, so if a kid asks a teacher a question and the teacher answers the question, parents can sue the teacher. Or if a kid says to a teacher, I feel this, or I think this, or even think about a little second or third grader, I like this person. They have an obligation to report to the parent. Like, really? Like, leave them children alone and let them grow and mature and experience life and learn about who they are. Part of the problem is parents are not having honest conversations either. But what happens now with the kid who has two moms or two dads when they go to school? And
yeah, they can't talk about
they
their
can't talk about their parents without being sued. Like, what kind of freaking madness is this? This is stupidity. Like we said, there's enough stupidity and ridiculousness around.
They have enough topics that need to be taught in the schools. So I'm just curious. So in Florida alone, you have children who have been educated in the school system, in the public school system in Florida. So it sounds like they don't really even teach that much math and science. So now on top of that, they can't teach Black history because somebody might get offended. They can't talk about gay folks because somebody might get offended. I just can't understand why these parents don't keep their damn children at home, because you want to tell the teachers what to do. You want to tell them what to teach. You want to tell them how they should protect themselves from the deadly virus.
They can't
You want to go up to the school board spitting and hollering in folks' faces about COVID. If you have all of these restrictions, requirements, and issues, keep your kids at home. Solve the problem. You have you have Florida virtual school. Let them go to Florida virtual school.
Yeah, but the truth is, most people want babysitters. They don't want their children educated.
Absolutely, they want babysitters. They don't want their children educated. They want them to just do enough to get by and eventually get out of their house.
Yeah. So I wanted to drop another article in here. So I dropped an article. So, Exxon Mobil announced their fourth quarter earnings. So that's October, November, December of 2021 was 8.9 billion or 2.8 per share. And they also announced a large stock buyback. So what I'm saying is, to your point about some of this inflation is being driven not by corporate responsibility or thinking of the greater good. Some of this inflation is being driven by corporate greed.
Agreed. Yeah.
So check those corporations before you complain about the gas price. See what the CEO salary and what his bonus was for the first quarter of this year, and then that'll tell you a lot that you need to know. Yes, are there supply chain issues? Absolutely.
I mean,
Losing.
but are there? I mean, at this
I
point, you
mean,
know
there,
what?
there
I'm becoming a conspiracy theorist.
there are some. There have been some, but a lot of some of it has to do with that. Almost 1 million people in this country died of COVID. Think about that. We're almost to
Right.
1 million people have lost their life to COVID. So you know what that means. And these are like people on the spectrum in terms. This is not. It wasn't 1 million people who are elderly and who were not working.
Right.
These are people who were in the workforce, and a lot of them were frontline workers and people who do work that directly impacts the supply chain. So yeah, nearly 1 million people, you know, no longer producing, that will create a supply chain issue. I'm just throwing
Correct.
it out there. So anyway, all right, y'all. You know what you're watching. You tune in live with Hey Sister. I'm Demetria. She's Christina, and we're talking about all types of hot topics, things that have been happening in the news, in and around our world. And we want you to join the conversation in the comments. Let us know what you think. We also want you to like, follow, share, and subscribe to Hey Sister. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Click that set reminder so you always get a notification when we're going live.
And tell a friend. Tell a
Tell
friend.
a friend. Yeah, tell a friend. Tell them come on to the party and let's just get on into the conversation.
Right.
So I said we were going to start a little heavier and then come down a little lighter. So Barack got the cold, girl. Barack. Oh, one Mr. President, former president number 44, he announced that he tested positive. He said he had a little tickle in his throat and then he tested positive, but he's feeling fine because he's vaccinated and boosted. Our forever first lady is negative. And so it lets you know that the cove is still out there. So I don't know any words you have for Rock.
Well, get well soon, Barack. I mean, you said you're feeling fine. You just got a little tickle in your throat. Man, get you some Dr. Tishner. Knock that on out. It kills pretty much everything. But on a serious note, one of the things that he said in his post is that, this goes to show that, number one, you can still get this disease, even though it's, he's boosted and vaccinated and what have you, but also the importance of being boosted and vaccinated so as not to pass it along to your family and loved ones. So, the fact that we still got to have this conversation about why people should be boosted and vaccinated. I mean, we literally had this conversation last Saturday, and it was funny to me that it came up in conversation. Because you and I are kind of on the same page. I mean, at this point, if they tell us get number 4, we're gonna get number 4 because it's with us. COVID is with us. But the fact that people don't understand, you can get a flu shot and still get the flu.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that you are what's the word? Like that you can't get it. It doesn't mean that. And I don't know why people think, because that has never been the case
with any
vaccine. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, that's never the case. It does lessen the maybe the severity of what your symptoms might be. But Barack gonna thug it out. I know he will. But yeah.
So I would say that. So I have the ticker going there, and I dropped the link in there. I have it on my phone. I have this COVID Act Now. I have it saved on Google, and I search it. So we did that right the other
Yeah.
day. I was like, well, let's see what the positivity rate is where we are. That would let us know how we move. Yes, we still have our masks. We wear our masks. And in some cases, the test, I was like, oh, okay, the positivity rate is like down in the 3%. And if y'all remember back, way back when this started, they're like, listen, between 1% and 3%, you didn't need, you could kind of take the mask down. That's what people always talk about what Dr. Fauci said. Y'all ain't listen to everything Dr. Fauci said, because if you did, you would know these benchmarks. 1% to 3%. If we have a vaccination rate in the 70 to 80%, we're gonna be good. We'll have a low infection and transmission rate. But still, some of y'all out there who are not vaccinated, y'all are letting it, because Omicron has a subvariant of Omicron. Y'all letting that subvariant.
Yeah, I'm
Y'all let
looking at
that subvariant do its thing while we in the spring and when it's warm and it's like it seems like it's dormant, but it ain't. So if you have not been vaccinated yet, get vaccinated. Get all 3 of your shots, because what you're doing is you're protecting yourself, you're protecting others. And the end point of the clinical trial for the vaccine was a reduction in hospitalizations, severe disease, and death. So if it keeps you from having severe disease and keeps you from dying, that's a pretty damn good vaccine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just going to COVID Act Now. It says that 77% of the entire U.S. population has received 1+ dose, but of course, the highest rates of vaccination are not surprising where they are, but the lowest, the states with the lowest rate, it appears that may be Wyoming. I believe that may be Wyoming and Mississippi. So yes,
Mississippi,
Wyoming
and
is.
Louisiana. I don't know why Louisiana always want to be in the works list.
Well, Louisiana is doing better than Mississippi, but it is about
not by much. New Orleans is doing better than Louisiana.
Well, all I will say is that at the end of the day, I don't know as much about this stuff as my sister does, because she worked in the medical field. But what I do know, because I know of other viruses don't necessarily die. They just lie dormant. And so, as you said, it may, and they lie dormant, they mutate, what have you. So things may seem relatively cool right now, cool as an okay, but when the weather gets colder again, like I said, I see that COVID will be with us like the flu virus and what have you. And eventually, prayerfully, we'll get to a point where, people just take the COVID, they'll get a booster shot like you do the flu shot every year. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, again, I love the COVID Act Now, because you can drill down by zip code. You can look at the infection rate, the test positivity rate. You can look at the hospitalization rate. It will let you know. You can dig down in that data even deeper. It'll let you know what the ICU capacity is at that local hospital and what's going on. So I'm telling y'all get that. Yeah, girl. We love our people, but
well, the thing about it is, I'll just say this: don't let people who have been vaccinated tell you not to get vaccinated, because you have to question why somebody else would get vaccinated, but then tell you, your rights. You don't have to wear a mask. You don't have to get vaccinated, but they got vaccinated.
like one Ron DeSantis yelling at some high school students, like, we got to stop at the COVID theater. If those cheering mom, you just want the parents to tell their children what to do. If the parents said wear your mask, but now you want to tell them they need to you can take your mask off. You don't have, like, Oh, girl, that got under my skin.
They
And
got under my skin too because I said I wish if I had a child, I wish you would have told my child to take off his mask. I don't care what you are. You would have learned that day.
well, I tell you what, I was a little firecracker back in my high school years. I might have had said something and would have got
I wish some
and
of
I
your
would have
kids
got
had said
pulled from
something.
behind the governor at that
Yeah.
press conference.
And I would have been okay with that because I would have been like, you know what? I don't need to be behind no fool, no way.
I'd have walked off. Anyway, whoa, man. All right, so Mo, listen. Tom Brady been home for 2 weeks, y'all, and he already done unretired. What? What? Tom? Giselle and them children got on your nerves that bad? What happened, sister? How he unretired already?
Listen, I was just talking about this earlier. Well, we know for sure, there are folks who, speaking of COVID, there are those of us who are still working from home, and there are people who are ready to go back to the workplace. And I think it's because during this time, they realize, like we said before, some people realize they don't like their spouses. Some people realize they don't really like their kids that much. Some people realize that, it's a reason why I leave every day to keep my sanity. I'm not going to say that this is what Tom was feeling, but Tom. And I knew. So see, I knew.
We know it ain't money.
We know it's not money, but I knew when because the first time it was like, I ain't really retired. I ain't say that. Then he came back, but even that retirement note was way like, did you really retire? I didn't hear those words at all. So I knew he was leaving it open. Child, I thought he was gonna leave it open for a year or two, at least get out, go, because he's supposed to be doing a movie about himself. Himself. Sorry, speaking. He's supposed to be in production with a film about his life. Tom said, "Wait." In the middle of production, he said, "You know what? Would work? A Super Bowl, another Super Bowl win." Would be what this film needs another Super Bowl
How
win.
many
So
do he already have? Don't he have
two,
like 6?
enough. But I literally thought, okay, Tom is coming back, but he gonna sit out a year at least. He gonna Drew Brees it, try to get a little bit of a get in front of the camera or something like that. Tom said my body is still working, so
He said, I'm on that vegan lifestyle. My wife be doing the voodoo and the hoodoo over me, me stretching in the Pilates and the yoga and meditating and drinking the green juice and everything. He came on back. Yes, he got sick of them kids already, girl. Jolinda, you going back to work? Tom, he didn't even stay out a year. Come on, Jolinda, you going back out there.
like you said, when did the season end? Because I thought the Super Bowl was like a month from today. Like it was a month ago today.
It was, yes.
So he said, I gave it 4 good weeks.
Not even 4 months.
He said, I know my strengths and weaknesses.
And being here with y'all is not my strength in my ministry. So I'm going back.
He said, I like to see y'all on a limited basis.
Yes, indeed. Oh my goodness. Well, Tom, I say do it, brother. Do it till the wheels fall off. Thank you for holding it down for those people who are born still in the 70s. All right, brother. Because he's 45 now or 44, about to be 45.
Something like that.
Hey, thank you for still holding it down and letting all of us know what's possible if you take really good care of yourself physically, if you take care of yourself mentally and emotionally, if you have a strong support system, you can keep doing what you love clearly till the wheels fall out. Everybody's not built that way. Everybody's not built that way. So there's something about him. There's definitely something about him. And I remember very distinctly because I think it was Drew Bledsoe who he came. I remember when he was a backup quarterback. You know, he was a sixth round draft pick. He was on the sidelines. And I think it was Drew Bledsoe. I might have it wrong. I have to go look at it. I remember when that guy went out and he was the Patriots quarterback, and he got healthy enough to come back in to play for that Super Bowl, but Tom started, and Tom was like, because he was really young, he was in his 20s, and he was so excited, and he won his first Super Bowl, and I could see the look on that other person's face who was not even who was younger than what Tom is now, and he knew his career had ended.
Mm-hmm.
His career was ending, and when he was watching him. So I said, brother, if you could do it to the wheels.
And it was Drew Bledsoe, yes.
Yes, see, girl, I know a little bit. Hey,
well, I will say this other. Yeah, hold it down, Tom. If that's what you want to do your thug this. I will say and I could be wrong, but I believe that the atmosphere for him. I know Antonio acted a fool on y'all, but you know Antonio said he got problems with certain other situations. But I do think that environment, he left the Patriots environment. I think that was a toxic workplace too. So he probably like, ooh, that extra stress off my shoulders. Plus, I'm still making millions. I guess his knees don't ache like mine's in the morning.
Well, let's talk about other toxicity and achiness. I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one, girl, because I didn't even hear this story, and I'm like, Kanye, you don't want it with Uncle DL, okay?
I mean, that's the summation. So, I mean, I guess you know, DL was being interviewed, and he made some comments about basically about what Kanye West has been doing in terms of threatening Pete Davidson, putting things out there about his wife, that basically those things were abusive, right? And so he made comments about it. Why? I don't even know when that interview was, but I feel like it wasn't yesterday. So I guess yesterday, though, Kanye woke up and or this morning and had it on his mind. So long story short, you can find it and read it. I didn't put an article because all the articles that I saw were biased towards Kanye supposedly dragging DL. DL has clapped back in the only fashion that DL can. But as I have read other people say, so Kanye basically threatened DL and his family and suggesting that he has people who could get rid of DL or who could hurt or harm DL. You know, and I read about it first on Van Lathan's post, and he said, you know, I've spoken with DL, and believe me, he will be making a statement. And there were people that I felt very surprised by where, well, DL should have stayed in his lane. Well, DL should have minded his business. And I was like, wow, to think that a man who is speaking out against abuse is not celebrated. That's interesting in and of itself, because at the end of the day, what Kanye has been doing has been abusive, and it's dangerous and it's reckless. And if you don't want somebody getting in your quote unquote business, then stop putting your business out in the streets for everybody to get in it. Because let's be clear, and we're going to talk about Miss Kimberly Kardashian. Let's be clear. I am not a fan of hers at all, especially with the foolishness. She is doing no favors for herself. However, right is right and wrong is wrong. And it is wrong for a man to be publicly threatening now his child's mother. I mean, my thing is, if he can threaten DL and he can threaten Pete Davidson, then we know he has the capability to do harm to his children's mother. And it's sad. It's really, really sad. So, you know, DL just basically indicated that for all y'all goons he got who can come and kill me and my family, it's wonder why none of y'all can't roll over to the CVS and pick up his prescription. And that was part of my comment as well on Van Lathan's page. Is the fact is that Kanye West is obviously surrounded by folks who are condoning his piss poor behavior, and that is not cool. And someone else made the comment, you know, if this was, I think they made it say Ray, I don't know, but you know who it is, Ray, Pookie, whomever, down the street who didn't have money
Mm-hmm.
doing the same thing, it would not be deemed funny. It would not be deemed entertainment. Nobody would be celebrating Kanye. I mean, celebrating Ray Ray or Pookie. So why are we celebrating Kanye? Why are we condoning this behavior and this foolishness? That's why I haven't watched that Netflix special. It may be, I've heard it's great, and it may well be, but I refuse to give another. I can vote with my eyeballs and my money, and I refuse to do anything else to support someone who we see in crisis mode, and ain't nobody close to him doing anything about it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
And I don't know if he been told, but I don't think DL just somebody you roll up on. Because you might have goons today, but some of us got goons from way back. We know people who ain't got much to lose. You could get them a 6-pack and $10, and they ready to go off, set it off. So that's my thing. You got high paid goons. DL know you don't play with it, because you're gonna find out you're gonna mess with the right one.
You're going to mess with the right one on the wrong day. And basically, because you've made these public proclamations and threats, baby, they could get away with
anything,
taking you out, because they have a reason to say they fear for their life.
Exactly.
So, Kanye, Donda's son, get the help you need.
Get the help you need, because at the end of the day, if this woman is doing all the stuff that you claim that she's doing, why you want to be with her anyway? If she's so bad, and you tripping off of her having the little girl having a TikTok page, if she ain't who you, if she's
that's so how they made their life in the social media realm. That's how they made that's how they did what they've done. And less so since we talking about it in her hard work.
Right.
Kim said this week that, what women need to do is they need to work hard, not just be born to a father who was
because you see, you done downplayed it. Let me find what Kim actually said.
It's funny because people say stuff and you like on Facebook, you're like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. But then when you put all the backstory to it, like the man that I had read the article about, he talked about, the retiring early, and the guy was retiring in his 30s, but his uncle gave him like $150,000 home, and he worked for his father's hedge fund. I was like, your life was set up a whole lot different than most. So yeah, you could retire in your 30s.
Right. Let me see what this heifer said, because I'm sorry. I wanted to be very clear that the actual get your effing ass up and work.
Yeah. Okay.
No, and because that makes a difference. Because that is even more egregious, girl. That is more egregious. First of all, you sound like Bill Cosby trying to tell folks not to buy shoes for their children because they need to get hooked on phonics. Okay, listen. Let me tell you something, Sister Kimberly. First of all, it's been plenty of people in this life who have been in sex work and they didn't become multi-millionaires or billionaires. So the fact that a sex tape of you became the launching pad for your career is abnormal. That doesn't happen for most of us. Again, like you said, your father was very wealthy and very connected. And because of his wealth and his connections, it allowed you to start, what was the word? Organizing closets for the rich and famous. hence how you even became a part of some of these circles that now you find yourself in. Then on top of that, again, your mother is all about, hey, if we gonna exploit,
Now that's the one. That's the one who put in some work.
yes, that's who put in the work, because she said, hey, if you're gonna be exploited, you might as well
She
get
was
paid
like
for
Eric B. She
exploitation.
was thinking, and Roger, she was thinking of a master plan because ain't nothing but sweat was inside her hand. She was like, okay, this husband is gone. I'm married to this one who want to be a woman, and I need to come up. I need to set me and mine up for the rest of our days. And I need you to go have a baby with this multimillionaire, and you go have a baby with this multimillionaire, because you notice they all have their children with the same dude, even though they're not with that dude.
Right.
Go have your baby with these multimillionaires, so then we always gonna be protected. And that was the strategy. That's the mastermind behind this whole thing. That's
Right.
Chris.
And it had nothing to do. And let's be clear, you're the only one of y'all that, well, Rob called himself graduating from USC, but and then the other sister graduated from USC, but so again, you going to fake law school, not even real law school. And since you got all this time to be fighting with Kanye, and Pete got all this time to be, how y'all texting each other and all of this stuff, I don't know. Girl, listen,
it just becomes public.
And it all becomes public. I mean, it just everything. Oh, new pictures of everything you do becomes public. Girl, sit down somewhere. That is not hard work. You were lucky. Because there's even some, you were lucky because there's even some people who come from money and they've tried it and it has fallen off for them.
Yes, absolutely. So I will say this.
And you have a good plastic surgeon.
Girl, they got for real
on speed dial.
On speed dial. They always up under the knife or the injection. But I will say this: hard work does not equate
to nothing. Girl, do you know how wealthy we would be? Right. If it was about hard work?
Well, that's what I'm saying. See, here's the thing. Hard work is the brothers that's laying asphalt when it's 100 degrees outside. Hard work is the people who go under the ground and laying wires and pipe. That's hard work. Hard work.
That's why hard
work is the domestic worker who is out here cleaning houses. That's hard work. What you doing ain't hard in no way, shape, or form.
Well, that's why I said I wanted to correct my statement. Yeah. It was get your effing ass up and work. So even that is because there's plenty of people working on a regular basis.
There are people who are working every day at minimum wage jobs, at sub minimum wage jobs, who are working 2 and 3 jobs, who are saving their money, who are going to school and raising kids, all of that, and who are stressed by costs and inflation and what have you. And it is not about the amount of effort they put in every day. And that's the thing that pissed me off to no end, because a lot of folks out there are working very hard, very, very hard. And it has nothing to do with who it doesn't diminish who they are as a person, the value that they add in the world. Just because we see you're behind, literally, on TV and on the cover of magazines, it doesn't make you the model.
And just because you make a whole lot of money
doesn't make you the pinnacle.
Right.
So we need to stop evaluating or measuring our worth, value, and success against these anomalies, because that's what you are, chick. You are an anomaly. And instead of saying, I am grateful for being an anomaly, I am grateful that my father worked hard and to create a lifestyle for us as his children, and then before his death, he created this certain lifestyle for us. which allowed me to have a certain level of socioeconomic status and comfort that I really never had to really work hard in my life. Yes, I do work, I have ideas, I go to meetings and whatever. But chick, you ain't never worked hard a day in your life. And that's a fact. And that's the thing that pissed me off. And yes, I'm gonna have two babies, and then I'm gonna have two via surrogate with another multimillionaire. And I'm saying I've worked hard. Gotcha. Stop. Just stop it. Anyway, who our last topic for tonight, y'all. Drop in the comments. Oh, Jesse. Ooh, Jesse. Jesse told y'all before he left that courtroom, I'm innocent. I still ain't do this. I ain't suicidal. And if something happened to me up in this prison or in this jail for these 100, how many days? He got 105 days?
150 days.
These 150 days that I'm gonna be in jail, if something happened to me, y'all know it. Y'all know I ain't do it. The man did it. Sister, what you say? What you looking at, sister? Come on.
I'm sorry. You get caught up in the foolery. Yes. What do I have to say? I have to say that Taraji P. Henson put hashtag free Jussie on her page, and she disabled the comments because she said she wasn't on going back and forth with y'all on this. And I think at the end of the day, 150 days is egregious for this situation. It just doesn't seem to fit the crime. If there is a crime, I mean, yes, making, I guess, false police reports, for example, is a crime. But, you know, police officers who shoot and kill unarmed Black men and say, oh, my life was, I felt threatened. Or in one video that I saw from last year where a young Black man is riding in his car and he's like, my hands are up, my hands are up. And he's, the officer is telling him to turn off his car. He's like, no, I'm not moving my hands. You see my hands. And he's like, gun. He screams that. And he's like, where? And the fact that you have police officers doing things like that, that is more egregious than Jussie getting himself beat up and putting a noose around his neck. Now, in this day and age where there are definitive hate crimes happening, again, nobody is saying dude is innocent. Nobody is saying that, even though he's saying it. I'm sorry, somebody is saying that he's saying it, but he is emphatically saying, I did not do this. But I am not going to sit here and say he's innocent. I will sit here and say that 150 days, which is approximately 5 months, and then 30 more days of 30 more days or months? 30 more days.
30 months.
30 more months. Okay, probation. It seems egregious. It seems egregious that we wasted taxpayer dollars on a trial. It seems egregious that when Kim Foxx said she wasn't going to pursue charges, that they were picked up elsewhere. I think at the end of the day, and Taraji said it very plainly on her Instagram page, being a creative and not being able to create is prison enough. He ain't nobody calling Jussie for a job. And you know, this whole thing about quote unquote cancel culture, I'm always amused at those terms that have been hijacked by certain folks, because it's like, it's funny who gets canceled and who doesn't.
Yeah.
It's funny who we choose to say we don't mess with anymore. We choose to blackball, and who doesn't. And so again, he's not getting work. You know, he's not, he was at the height of his career when all of this happened. Whatever the real reasons were, we'll find out by and by. But right now, in this moment, I think it's a little egregious when we see, again, when Kim Potter got less time, or she got 16 months for killing someone, 14 months that she'll have to do for killing someone. It ain't panning out for me.
Justice ain't just. That's all we can say.
And I guess he thought it would be because his name was Jussie, but nope.
Not for you, Saul. Well, that's all we have tonight, folks. We thank you for tuning in live with Hey Sister and joining us from the comments and getting in the conversation. Again, like we said, I dropped in the chat about his sentencing. If you want to read more and learn more about that, hey, continue to share, like, follow. Whenever it's Sunday, we'll be here. And with that, we signing off and saying good night, everybody.
Good night.